Hi, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to a great, jazzy and bluesy episode of Filmbusters.
It's not really jazzy, is it? It's more
Film Brothers.
blues and Motown.
Jazzy and bluesy, mate. You got a trumpet.
They put the trumpet in the blues.
Yeah.
And they put the trumpet in the jazz.
Got a bit of Motown going on.
Put a bit of jazz in there, mate. It's fine. Blues is a bit more mellow. Jazz is like...
feelings back again.
Jazz is about expressing yourself.
Adam's doing some jazz right now.
Yeah, Adam singing Boys to Men. Like, you're such a little corporate fucking whore for Always Sunny in Philadelphia. R&B from the 90s, man. The funny thing is, I was alive when that song was actually out, and Adam only has a reference for it because of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and there he is singing it and annoying the fuck out of me with it.
That's the state of the world. Would you prefer a jazzy episode of Filmbusters or a blues episode of Filmbusters?
I prefer the jazz to the blues.
Exactly. So it's like that's why I said it. I want a jazzy episode.
I don't think that's true. You prefer the jazz to the blues?
Yeah.
Music-wise, you don't. How much jazz you got in your collection compared to how much blues?
Quite a lot. I listen to it when I go to sleep.
You listen to jazz? Jazz is crazy music to listen to sleep to.
If you turn it on a nice volume, it's quite nice.
You're wasting electricity.
It focuses the mind.
You know where he has got a lot of jazz?
In his pants.
In his waste paper bin in his bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. He's been jazzing it up left, right and centre in this lockdown.
That's just disgusting.
Jazzing into the Kleenex.
On that note, should we move on?
Roll the intro!
No, let's stick with it.
Filmbusters.
Yeah, you know what? That is true. Our podcast is a bit like jazz, because in jazz, they're just fucking freeling, and then all of a sudden the focus switches to one person. You know what?
The pianist wants to do it, bam, let's give it to him.
Maybe I told you this before, but the very first time that I went to see live jazz, when you're watching it, like, because they do like 40-minute sets, right? And in the middle of it, all of a sudden, everyone starts applauding, and I was like, why are people applauding now? So you join in with them, and then they stop, and then the music plays for a couple of minutes, and then everyone starts applauding. But it's like everyone knows when to applaud. And I was like, why is this happening? And then I realised they are always applauding the solo that just preceded it. But sometimes it's not clear that a solo's happened, but then the focus switches, and I'm like, oh, you're applauding because now he's not going to do a drum solo, and he's not going to do a trumpet solo.
The trumpet man's been bringing it. He's been trying to get the realm, and he's finally got it, and now he's got his trumpet solo. I went and saw a bit in New York, but it wasn't really that good. Well, I wouldn't go to a proper place, but I'd love to go to like a proper, like, Ronnie Scott's.
Yeah, Ronnie Scott's. I've been wanting to go to Ronnie Scott's for a while. Do you know what has a really good jazz club? We'll quickly move on to yeah, Pizza Express. You would not believe it.
It's down the road from Ronnie Scott's.
It is. Pizza Express.
I've seen they do live music every so often.
Downstairs at Pizza Express.
It's only that jazz restaurant now, I think. Like,
It's only that one. That's where that first jazz place that I went. You have a lovely pizza and a beer, and then you listen to the jazz.
Yeah, and then you get some garlic dough balls.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty sick.
Spaghetti.
It was sci-fi jazz as well. It was telling a sci-fi story. It was really cool. Look at us, we're the Jazz Brothers over here.
Yeah.
Jazzing everywhere. I just jazzed. Let's move on from this filth. Now, two things before we start. Number one, there's a big scene developing outside my flat at the moment. All the police and ambulance and fire brigade are here, and the news is suggesting that people have been evacuated from the building. So there's a very real chance that in the middle of this podcast, dear listeners, you'll be left with Paul and Adam, and I'll be evacuated.
No, please take us with you. I want you to do it on the street. Paul would have a nightmare editing it with all the sound in the background.
That's true, all the sirens. The thing is, there's like a mixture of 30, I would say, ambulance, fire brigade and police, and not one of them has any sense of urgency. None of them are rushing around, they're all just chilled.
There's really not a lot you can do.
And like, the man lied to me, because I asked the fireman what was going on, and the fireman said a spillage.
Maybe he didn't know at the time. Or maybe they've been told to say that to calm you down.
Now they've released an official statement saying there's a suspicious package, and some people have fell unwell at the scene. Anyway, that was what I was going to say. The next thing I was going to say is let's hit the quiz very, very quickly.
Yes.
So at the moment, Paul is on 15.
You're on 13, Ben. And Adam is on a measly 12.
Right.
I thought I was on 13 as well.
No, definitely not.
Bullshit, I'm having that.
But Adam, if ever there was a chance for someone to proceed. Surely this is your
Again,
week.
I don't know what the
This
questions
is
could be
this
here.
is your time, mate. Come on.
I think this one is a very good question.
I know nothing.
Okay, should we go for it?
I'm going to save the very good question for second. I'll do the less good question first. Who is the first musician to appear in this film?
James Brown.
Incorrect. I knew you would shoot your load and go early. Paul?
Oh, I don't know his name. It's the guy who sings with his white suit.
I've got to give you a countdown.
I don't know his
Shit,
name.
of course he
so
is, yeah.
5,
I don't know his name.
I forgot his name.
You can have the point.
3, 2, 1. Cab Calloway. Adam, you should be ashamed of yourself. That's
I
a
know, I'm
fucking
really
easy
annoyed at
question,
that.
mate. That's an easy question. I know why you went James Brown, because he's the obvious performance.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
obviously
he's the first
he's the bigger
performance.
name. I almost didn't think of him as the musician, obviously, but he does, doesn't he?
Well, here's your
Shit on
chance
it.
to make it up. Let's see how well you are paying attention. Whoever starts answering this question, we can't have pauses in between. I need the full answer. So
Okay.
only answer once you have it all in your head.
Okay.
What items do Jake and Elwood order in the diner?
4 large chickens and 2 large cokes and 4 slices of white bread.
Paul, would you like to give your answer?
Fuck.
Dry toast and 4 fried chickens. Do you need the drinks as well? One Pepsi
No,
Okay.
and
It's,
a water.
So you're both
it's definitely
wrong.
a large coke.
You're both
and 4
wrong,
fried chickens
yeah.
and 2 slices of white dry bread.
It's 1 slice of dried white toast. It's 1
Fuck.
Coke and 4 fried chickens.
Fuck.
Adam, why would you
I
say
know.
4 Cokes and 4 slices of toast?
I don't know. I was panicking. You made me panic.
Paul came closer than you on that, so neither of you got the point.
He said
Oh.
Pepsi. I said Coke. At least I got the brand.
We're level.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Double
Baka.
15, mate.
Oh shit. No. I was on 13.
Yes. So now it's double 15.
Oh yeah, because you didn't get the first question right. Oh look. Look at this. Yeah. I'm ready.
You're
I'm
ready.
James Brown in it now. I'm
Adam's
feeling
in
like
the back.
James Brown. He's pissed. Do you want to hear the other question I was going to ask you?
Go for it.
It wasn't very good. Complete the line. It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark.
We're
wearing sunglasses.
Yes,
Hit it.
you would have both got it. That's why I can't give you the easy one. Very
You
shocking.
could have done like. Do you know what question I would have picked? And I thought you were going to do is like list all the weapons that Carrie Fisher uses.
No, that's a good one.
Never going to have a chance to say that question, are you, Adam?
Never.
Ever.
He's never going to have a chance to ask
Can you
any
name?
question.
Can you name them? I only just thought of that on the spot as
A
well.
massive gun.
Flamethrower,
Yep.
missile launcher,
An RPG
uh,
and an M16. I think the other one was.
it's far too technical.
Sorry, that I didn't know we needed to know the exact like model number of the gun.
Well, this is what you could be in for if I win. So
Christ almighty.
He's never going to
Now-
win it. Don't worry about it.
Do you not think that this you should have done much better?
because I'm worried that Paul's going to get in before because he's got more superior knowledge. So if I know it, I need to get in there and then I fuck it up.
If you ever eat with Adam, he always finishes before you because greedy. He doesn't know how
Have
to
you-
be savouring.
is that
it.
He
Thing?
thinks someone's going to steal his meal.
I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a quick eater.
You eat and drink like a fish.
Anyway, should you actually get on and discuss this film?
Yes.
Adam wants to talk about the Jazz Brothers, so let's do it.
Let's
Yes,
do
I'm
it.
just very excited to see what you guys finally think of this film.
It's the main event.
The main event. Here is our feature topic, plus Adam might do a rubbish plot summary.
Are you fucking serious?
Right, everyone. Today we're talking about the Jazz Brothers. Yes, the Jazz Brothers.
Okay.
This is a
It's a new
spoiler episode.
twist.
We will be going straight into spoilers. There's no hanging around. But first of all, Adam has to do a beautiful, maybe, plot summary.
Yes, for the Blues Brothers, not the Jazz Brothers, but let's correct it now before people turn off because they don't know the film. This is about two brothers, obviously.
Imagine if people tuned in, oh, the Blues Brothers, and then they hear that and they're like, oh shit, I ain't heard of that film. I thought it was Blues
Yeah.
Brothers.
They're all gone by now. We've lost them all. Anyway, it's about two brothers. One of them's just come out of prison. His name is Jake. And you got his brother Elwood. And they need to raise money for the church. and the best way they raise money is by getting the band back together, and they are on a mission from God. It's all about them getting the band back together, putting on a concert, getting the money, and then getting chased by the police.
Certainly is. You nailed it, mate.
I've become too good at these plot summaries. They used to be all over the place.
Yeah, it's true.
I
I'd be
would say
very disappointed in you if you didn't.
Could have had a little bit more enthusiasm, but
I don't know. I'm just describing it now. I used to get all over the place and get confused.
you should
Yeah.
be jazzing everywhere, mate.
I know. Anyway, so I'm gonna say it's my filmmate's pick. I want Ben to go first because I am very excited to hear what his boy thinks of this film.
Now then, for context, Adam has always been telling me to watch Blues Brothers, and I can't even remember how it all started, but
I think you just mentioned it and then you hadn't seen it, and I was like, oh, you've got to watch it. It's a good film.
and he was very, very keen to show
And
it.
I think I bought it for you for your birthday or something like that.
Now, you bought it for me. I was trying to work this out last night, I believe about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was
Yeah.
over at Paul's house. We went to Paul's house for the
Yeah, I
night,
think so.
And you brought it then. So it's been sitting there, Blu-ray, for 4 years unwatched. And then you made this announcement and off we go. And like I said to Jenny before we started the film, I'm like, I have no ill will to the film. It just never felt right. So I'm glad that you selected it because it was like now you just got to watch
You've got
it.
to watch it.
And let me tell you one thing. The first dilemma was that there was a theatrical cut and the extended cut, and I didn't know what to pick.
Okay.
So I said, well, let's just go with theatrical because it's already a long fucking film.
Yeah.
So we put the theatrical on, and after 40 minutes, the disc stopped working.
Oh, shit.
So
Who bought
I
you that
tried-
film? Was it Adam?
So I was buffing the disc and cleaning the disc, and put it in again, and at 40 minutes it locked.
you jazz
so I
on
was
it?
like, oh shit. Yes. The blues disc was all jazzed up. So I thought, well, we have to switch to the extended cut instead then, eh? So hoping that we get to that 40-minute mark and the extended cut will not jazz about. And when we get to that 40-minute mark, it plays fine.
Oh, lovely.
And then 10 minutes pass and it starts skipping again.
Oh
Long
my
story
God.
short, the film was skipping like a motherfucker all the way through it, but I had to keep buffing it and working it out. So it
You not go to Netflix eventually?
I to be honest, I didn't even realise it was on Netflix until Paul said that earlier today. But anyway, this is a very long-winded way of saying that if it was a lesser film, I would have been very pissed off. But the film was so fucking enjoyable and so good that I was just itching to get back into the film. I was not ready to give up on it. It was like a blast of nostalgia for a time that I didn't even live through. It felt like something that should have been seen like 20 years ago. The comedy is on point, the music is on point, and the vibe of the whole thing is on point. And my score, I feel very bad about giving it this score because it was so close, but it's not quite. It is an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
But it was so close to that 9, mate. You have no idea. Like, it was, I didn't know.
You might even talk about it now and raise it by the end of the podcast.
Well, maybe. Let's see how it goes.
I wonder if he didn't have the skip in, it would have been risen.
You know, if it had flown through like that.
Might have hated it.
I'm very happy. I'm very relieved.
We talk about all the business afterwards, but my goodness, that was fun, yeah.
Up to you now, Paul. Then I'll go last now.
Oh, God. Me next. Okay. I think the best way to do this is I'm going to start with the positives and move on to the negatives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then give us your review at the end. Your score
Yes.
at the end, I mean, sorry.
Yes, indeed. So, this film has some fantastic music in it.
That's a bad sign. He starts off by saying...
And now on to the negatives.
Oh, are you being serious or is that a joke?
In all seriousness, the film's good, but it's not great, in my opinion. It's like it has its fun moments, but as a comedy, I really didn't find it that funny. It's more like one-liners, like "He broke my watch," and like "Hey, my bed," and it's like it's which is more laughing at how dumb it is than how funny it actually is, right? I didn't think there was actually any good jokes in there. And as a musical, it's more of like a who's who of blues, with some thrown in songs by the Blues Brothers, and like hopefully that just makes it a good musical. Which I didn't think it was that good a musical. But as for the Blues Brothers themselves, I didn't really like them. I found them quite grating and even like grotesque in parts. And I really don't think they earned the massive gig at the end. They just kind of got what they needed by the end. But despite all this, I did in some way enjoy the film, and I'm going to give it a 7. And I can totally see why Adam. I can totally see why Adam loves this film because it has Carrie Fisher with a big gun.
I always forget she's in this film. You know that. Every time I watch this film, I always forget Carrie Fisher's in it.
Did I miss your rating?
It was a 7.
A 7? Oh, I thought you were going to go much lower based on what you were saying.
I enjoyed
Seven's
it.
very
I
generous
enjoyed
based on that. You two have very strange ways of reviewing a film and then the score you give. Very, very strange.
Well, no, because of the fact that this film is, in your opinion, so fantastic, Adam, I needed to go in with the negative points because I enjoyed it, but it was just like, I was just finding all the bad stuff I didn't like about it while I was going through it.
True.
Okay. Alright, I'm going to go next. This is a film I've watched. I don't know how many times I've watched this film. Probably, I don't know. But I probably first watched it, I must say, about 12 years ago now. I think it's when I started playing guitar. Maybe even way before that then. My dad bought it for me. He was like, hey, I'll buy you a film with, like, guitar. Like, when I tried learning Italian, he bought me the Italian job. So, like...
Fantastic.
Like, yeah. That kind of thing. Anyway, so I've grown up watching this film a lot, and I just love it. It's great fun. It's stupid. It's funny. The music's great. It's got great cameos in it. It's just bizarre and just wacky, and that's why it makes everything about that makes it so great. I mean, obviously, it's not the best film that's ever made. Obviously, there is some probably quite bad performances, you might say, for like you said, Paul. But I think overall, everything around this film, you don't really care about that at the end of the day. Like, that is not what the film's there for. It's not meant to be a masterpiece. It's just there to do what it says on the tin, and it very much does it. And I do give this film a 10 out of 10. It's one of my favourite.
Yeah, I knew it was a 10 out of 10. I knew it.
It had to be, didn't it? There's no way it's going to be lower.
I was thinking, like, it's just nostalgia as well. Like that. Yeah,
it does help.
Personal.
I get that.
It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, carry on talking now. And we can start discussing the points. Yeah, it's just so fun though. It is just. I mean, it might not be a laugh out loud comedy. Like, there is funny moments in it, but it's not meant to be your stupid belly laughter. You just laugh as you go along. It's just the wackiness and the stupid situations they get themselves in.
I thought the humour was very well done in it, and what it made me think about was a conversation that we had on, I think on WhatsApp, or maybe the last, I can't remember when it was, about comedies that actually make you laugh, or we said, like, what's the highest rated comedy? That was it recently.
Yeah.
And while I was watching this film, I was thinking, yeah, this is funny. This is like if I were to think of a comedy film, I would say that this was a comedy because it did make me laugh. And the things that were so ridiculous, like it was funny because of how over the top it is. It is and so like the
bit that when I very first watched this film, the bit I remember the most is the bit with the Nazis and they're chasing them and they're driving along the scene and he's leaning out the window of the car and he's like wiping off the oil off the front of the car.
Yeah.
And then that car jumps and their car does a flip.
Odd, that bit.
And their
the
bit
car
jumps.
doing the flip is wicked.
Stupid.
So weird.
And you're just like, this is great, man.
They had so much budget to fuck with the cars in this. It was wonderful.
It destroyed the most cars ever in a film when it was released. And then I think Gone in 60 Seconds came out like 3 or 4 years later and they beat it just about. But it was makes 120 cars were destroyed.
You know when you hear that, what's the best car chase scene in movies? Like, up to this point, I would say like Ronin. But I think now I would say Blues Brothers, because even though it's farcical, it's just fucking stupid. Brilliant.
That one at the end, man, it's just like cars just crashing into each other.
It was so mental. And when that police car ends up in the side of the truck, and the truck just keeps going down the motorway, that is gold. And when the car flips backwards at the end, that shit is gold, man. Like, there's no rational explanation why that car
That's what I'm saying.
That.
There was so much cocaine on this set that it kind of when you know that, it kind of makes sense. Because they were doing so many night shoots and stuff, and they had to do all the bit in Chicago at like 2 in the morning, or like stupid o'clock in the morning.
That's why films were better back then, man, because they operated off of instinct and drugs. Now everything is so polished.
I read that apparently Dan Aykroyd said that the cocaine was included in the film's budget.
Yeah,
she said it needs to keep him awake.
I mean, probably that's what didn't help poor John Belushi.
But that was Belushi. So interesting. Again, before it started, I said to Jenny, I'm not the main reason I think that I stayed away from this film is I don't like that man, John Belushi. I've seen him in other things, and he's the
only thing I've really seen him in.
He's a bit of a brute in everything, and he's just like a slob, and I don't really like his acting style. But he surprised me in this. Like, I warmed to him. I didn't think I was going to.
He's a bit more charismatic.
This is more charismatic than he's been in other films. Have you ever seen like Animal House? Oh
No,
my
I haven't.
God, he's pain in the fuck.
But you can
I
see
just
it
hate
come
him.
out when he's in the restaurant and they're trying to destroy that radio in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And you can see it all come out there.
That's when I was like, oh, I hate this man so much. When he's saying how much
Yeah.
for your daughter and how much for your wife, I was like, oh, I hate this man so much.
I agree.
But it's just so stupid and it works so well.
Do you actually like them, the characters?
I like Dan. I really do like Dan Aykroyd's character.
No, I love Dan Aykroyd, yeah. Dan Aykroyd is the reason that I smoked for years. Because of,
Because of Ghostbusters.
He was
because
so
of
cool.
him in Ghostbusters. The scene of him coming out at the end with a fag in his lips made me take up smoking, man. That man literally has taken years off my life.
Yeah.
Would you tell him that if you met him?
Probably, because that'd be a funny anecdote, wouldn't it?
That will be, actually.
He's so fat now.
Is he? I haven't seen him, actually,
He's a
recently.
big fat fuck. Selling vodka out of crystal skulls.
He was probably just listening to this podcast, enjoying it. thinking,
I'm
"Oh, that's
sorry.
cool."
I'm sorry.
And then you
I'm
go off and
sorry,
slate the
Dan.
guy.
He is hugely overweight.
Has he got his own vodka company?
Yeah, you've seen the Crystal Skull. He does Crystal Skull vodka. It's
Oh, actually, yeah, I think I've seen it,
it's
yeah.
the skeleton head.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was over here signing bottles of it a year or so ago. I was going to go, but I thought I don't even fucking like vodka, so what's the point?
So, Ben, obviously this is close to one of your favourite films, Ghostbusters, isn't it? It's got quite a lot of the same crew probably
Well,
knocking
this
around
is
on it.
that's it. Very similar.
So, do you reckon it... I know obviously it's not going to hold up in your eyes. I think this is probably the way you look at Ghostbusters. I kind of look at this, is like the whole stupid humour.
it is. It's nostalgia. Like if
Would
you said you
was
saw
that
it
affecting
growing
your
up-
viewing going in? Do you reckon? Do you
No,
reckon
no,
that
nothing
helped
was
or
affe-
took away from this film for your viewing or not?
I appreciated that of this time there were these sorts of films, like off the back of things like Caddyshack and Stripes, there was this before there was like Ghostbusters, and you could see the kind of the humour that would then go on to form Ghostbusters. Like for me, Ghostbusters is miles better because it has a coherent plot and it just feels a little better. But I enjoyed it because I could tell that it was from the mind of one of the writers, because Dan Aykroyd wrote Ghostbusters as well. So I appreciate it.
Is
And
John Landis involved in it as well? in
John
Ghostbusters?
Landis was not involved in Ghostbusters in any way. It was directed by Ivan Reitman. But you know that John Belushi was going to play the Bill Murray role in Ghostbusters, but then he died. And I feel
lucky.
bad for saying it, but lucky, yeah, because
Yeah.
I would not have cared for... That's the difference a casting decision could make. I would hate Ghostbusters. If not hate it, but I would not take to it. See, if Bill Murray was in this with Dan Aykroyd, I wonder if I would rate it a little higher.
I don't know. I think Belushi does work in that role. Like that is.
I reckon I would like this film more if it was Bill Murray, actually. I think he put me off. I didn't like him.
He is an off-putting man.
But in this, I don't think he's off-putting in this film. Maybe because you guys are bringing him in. This is the first film I've seen him in, and I can honestly probably say that the only film I've really seen him in. I haven't seen Animal House, and I can't really think of much else he's been in
Neither can
that I
I.
might have seen. But because he didn't do a lot, he died quite young, didn't he?
Dino.
He was doing
But
sort
I
of
thi-
Saturday Night Live, wasn't it? Before he, like,
I think it's...
I think that's where it's spin off from, aren't they? Characters from SNL.
They were in SNL first and then this.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like because he was such a cokehead, and because when you just go in the IMDb trivia and you see so many bits and pieces about him being off his face and unprofessional and stuff like that, it almost makes you think, well, you're not even really playing a persona on camera. You kind of are that quiet
Slob.
loser, a bit of a slob, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, he's not a likable individual, but I've never seen him more likable than in this film.
See, that's why I've only seen him in this, so I don't have bring that. Other look.
You've
at
seen
him
Trading
with it.
Places. He's in Trading Places briefly.
I haven't seen that
Yeah,
either.
but he's probably only in it briefly then, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't remember him in it at all. But like I always said, always forget that Carrie Fisher's in this film. Every time I see it, and then she pops up, and I'm like, oh, it's Carrie Fisher.
I didn't even recognise her at first. She looked familiar, but I was like, who is that?
What's your favourite scene in this film then?
My favourite scene, I'll tell you, is
Yeah.
actually the police chase at the end. I do love how ridiculous that is, and it's probably the most entertaining.
That is-
bit.
it's
and all
great.
the army come in.
It's all the bit when they're jumping down the gun and
Yeah.
going, hut, 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 hut.
That is funny. That felt more like Naked Gun or something like that, like that kind of stupid. And I kind of appreciate
as the
that.
film went on, it got more nuts like that.
Yeah.
It's just like they hit a curb and the car's suddenly upside down.
Yes.
Like, and the whole bit through the shopping centre is like they see a shop and just drive into
Oh,
it.
fuck. That shopping centre bit was like, it was at that point when I got in the swing of the film. It took me a good
Yeah.
20 minutes.
I think that's
it was
the
at
very
that
first
point
thing with me.
where I got
I
it.
feel
because it's quite a slow little build up. Like, you've got the jump,
It is.
you've got the jump across the beginning, like you've got the jump
Yeah.
across the bridge, and then it kind of goes down that religious aspect, which I'm very glad they kind of keep it, but they don't at the same time. It's
Yeah,
like,
I could deal with that.
it's a
religious
throwaway.
aspect,
It's a
totally.
throwaway
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
It's almost like that's the reason for the film, and they kind
Yeah.
of make a joke out of it the whole time.
yeah.
And then it's that scene where it's suddenly, all right, now the film's going.
What's your funniest scene?
Funniest scene. I
Oh,
think
best
it's
scene. Sorry,
Best,
whatever
my
question you
favourite
ask.
scene. My favourite scene is the bit when they meet Ray Charles.
Oh yeah, that's very nice.
I just so
Do you know
good.
what's
It's just such a
funny
nice-
is when Ray Charles gets the poster for their evening event and he puts it upside down.
That's so easy, mate. So easy.
I know it's easy,
it's-
but it was funny, mate, because he is a blind. It would have been easy if that wasn't a blind man. If that was just an actor playing a blind man, but it was Ray fucking Charles doing it. That's what makes it funny.
And the funny thing is, he probably said yes to it as well.
Yeah,
Man
exactly.
approaching him like, okay, we want you to, can you put this poster upside? Actually, probably even fucking tell him. How would he know?
Oh, they would.
Hold it this way and put it up.
But yeah,
That's
I
what
just
they
love that bit, and everyone's dancing in the street. It's just like a good film, like a good fun film. And it's like all the music, and you've got Ray Charles doing his thing as well.
You know what my favourite bit was?
did. Tell us.
Stand by your man.
What, in the bar?
Yeah, that whole fucking scene was brilliant.
It was good. That bit.
In the redneck bar.
Yeah.
That was gold. But
I love it how they, even when they're doing well, they're still getting the bottles thrown at them.
I hear that I don't know, Adam. You are the one who knows now because me and Paul have seen different versions. I'm aware that whole redneck bar scene is more extended in the extended cut, but by how much? What's the difference?
I think I've seen. I can't remember the extended cut too much. I remember in the extended cut, the thing I remember the most is when they first meet Calloway, when he's talking to them downstairs. He does a song in that bit.
No,
remember-
but I mean in the bar. I know that. I know there's loads
I think
of
they do like
stuff.
another 2 or 3 songs.
Because they do a lot of songs in the film, and I assumed that it was because it was the extended version. Because apparently, that redneck bar scene has an additional song, and at the end, when they're performing at the end, there's like
They have an additional
5 songs at the end. How many songs
Okay,
did they perform
so
at the end? Paul?
I swear they only played like 2.
in the bar they do, in the redneck bar they do the right. They start off doing their song and get shut down, and they do Row High,
Rawhide.
and then they do Stand By Your
Rawhide.
Man, and then they go back to doing it again,
They do Rawhide,
Yeah.
and then
Rawhide
it
again.
cuts, and then you see him
Rawhide
singing
again.
another song, and then it finishes.
and then
Stand By Your Man.
By Your Man, and then
Yes,
it goes back
yes.
to do Row High, and then that's it.
Why are
And
you
at
saying
the end-
Rawhide?
I can't
Rawhide.
fuck off. Rawhide, and then at the end they do a song, and then they jump out halfway through the second song. That's when they go under the drum kit.
Yeah, but anyway, for me it was that redneck bar. I thought that was great. I think it's fantastic that the whole crowd turns against them and they're chucking their fucking beers up against that
Yeah.
chicken coop cage
And even when
shit.
they like them, they're still chucking them.
Yeah.
That's the bits I like in it. Like, you say you don't like him as characters. I like all that. It's like the hustling. It's just like they're doing their thing. It's like they'll
Yeah,
do
but
anything to get
that's
some
them
money.
doing
for these
something.
guys.
That's not the actual character. Like you can not like a character, but still like the situation they're in.
It's just like who they are. It's just like.
Like
and
he
obviously
was
they were
fine.
big
He
before.
wasn't as annoying in this. Like I didn't think he was that bad. That's what was the surprise because I disliked him before this, but then because of this, I was like, okay, maybe he can do some good stuff.
Can you see what I mean, though, Ben? It's like a Sunday evening film. Like a Sunday afternoon, you're a bit hungover, you're sitting on the
Yeah.
sofa, and you just want something like it's like a pick you up, feel good stupidness.
I missed my
Don't have to think
opportunity
too much.
because I was so sick on Saturday night. I should have watched it.
I was worried you were going to watch it on Sunday and it'd be a little bit grumpy. If you know you're going to like the film already, it helps you, but you might get into the film and not like it too much.
Nah, I cared for it very much.
I feel like if I understood, not even understood what kind of comedy it was, because it kind of starts off subtle and gets this absolute ridiculousness by the end. But I feel like if it had more of the ridiculousness in the start of the film, I might have got more into the swing of it. But I just didn't find it funny at the beginning.
But surely from the car chase in the supermarket,
It
you
kind of
realise how
annoyed me
ridiculous
because
this film is
I
gonna
thought it
go.
was a serious, like it was a comedy, but I didn't think it was like a wacky slapstick comedy.
But
Because they
it
were
goes-
driving
it
in
goes
shops, I was
from-
like, this is stupid because the police are just literally on purpose driving into shops.
Yeah, they were, but that was funny, man. It
was
was
like-
like, why are the police smashing into this
It was
shop?
like he would go past and he'd point at a shop, and then it cut to the policeman driving into that exact shop.
Yeah, that was funny, man. That was
And
funny.
then they cut to the scene of them driving Nazis off a bridge. Like, it's just stupid.
The Nazi bit, I will actually say, I think you could do without. having the Nazis.
I mean, it's just thrown in there for fun, isn't it?
The only thing that's funny about the Nazis is that yeah, that's fun, and also like at the end
When he flies.
when you realise that the police and the Nazis and the fucking country singers, the good old boys, are all chasing after them.
Yeah.
I did like this, and I honestly, the reason that I think I'm giving it an 8 is because, and I've said this with a lot of the picks that we've done when we've been picking the films, I think it's too long, and I think it takes a long time to do
Yeah, it is very long.
things.
This is why I was very surprised when you watched the extended edition. It adds a bit. It adds the songs to it. I'd say if you watch the theatrical version first, you get into the film. It's only an hour and 2 hours 10, which
Still
is very
long.
long for a comedy, though.
That is long. It could have been 100 minutes, I would say, for that one. If you trimmed half an hour,
Yeah.
you could have done that.
I agree with that.
Like
Or
that.
maybe you speed up the beginning. Like beginning
Also,
20.
dare I say, speed up the end a little bit, because as much as I like that car chase, the minute they get into that building,
It's
and
just
again, maybe this
ridiculous,
is
isn't it?
because it's the extended cut, it lasts too long before
It's
they get
about-
to Steven Spielberg.
They got just all the people running in the building. Like there's about 1,000 people chasing after them.
Yeah.
And what did they actually do? All they did was drive away from the police.
Yeah, I know. That
And
was
the army's
funny, though,
after them.
right?
Yeah, he was already wanted, wasn't he? And then it just pissed off more and more.
But he
policemen.
was only wanted because like they needed to seize his vehicle,
Yeah, that's the
right,
only
for-
reason.
for
Yeah.
avoiding a bunch of stuff.
Because his license expired.
But it gets stupid from the beginning because you've got the bit with the nun as well, and she's standing at the door, and then she just floats, and the door shuts.
Yeah, the door slams a few times. It takes a while to get into the film for sure, though. Definitely that first 20 minutes, half hour, I wasn't too sure on it. But that whenever that shopping mall scene happens, I'm
It's
like,
just after
okay,
the
we're
bit when
doing
they go
this
to
now.
the church. They go to see James Brown in the church.
Yeah,
and
see,
then-
I wasn't sold on that. When that performance happened, I was like, okay, there's a good song playing here, and that's kind of
that
fun.
bit, that performance bit in the church, I feel it almost happens too early in the film. You don't, again,
Yeah,
like
it
you say,
does.
you don't know the rhythm of the film, so
You're
it's
right.
kind of you're just thrown straight into that. If that had happened towards the end,
Yeah.
that whole performance and that energy, you might be more on board with it at that point.
It's so good how they like just build those performances directly into the film, though.
Yeah, it's like the whole Aretha Franklin. Imagine saying Aretha Franklin. All right,
Do you
we're
know,
gonna-
I
we're gonna
did
do-
not know that was Aretha Franklin till the end.
Really.
I didn't know what
You
she
can
looks
tell in her
like.
voice. You can tell by her voice.
I knew that she was a professional singer, but I thought that's a dub. I didn't know that was her. She looks so ordinary, right?
Yeah, but this way, like, just tell her you're gonna be working in this shop, and these two guys are gonna walk in, and then you've got your backing singers as the guests, and like,
It would have been much funnier if after she had performed that whole song, the guy had been like, "Well, I'm still going." He had just said it and walked out.
rather than walk out.
Yeah, rather than
Yeah,
picking
because the way he
guitar up,
walks
yeah.
out is like a real asshole behaviour.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's your wife,
that's a bit
mate.
I always find a bit weird. It's a bit like, all right, still fuck you. You haven't changed my mind at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I also love the bit when he pops the handbrake turn into the restaurant. It's just
Oh
stupid,
my
but
god,
it's great.
we played that
Oh.
back twice.
When he does
Why?
what?
It was so good. Well, you know when he spins the fucking car around and literally parks up right outside the entrance
Oh,
of
I
the
always
hotel.
remember me and my dad did that once. We were on holiday in Portugal. We had a hire car, and he put these two cones out. I think we just watched the Blues Brothers. He was like, "I'm going to put the car in between that." It took him 2 attempts, and he did it.
And first attempt, you drove it off a cliff.
Oh, he,
And
hit,
it
he hit the
flips.
cone.
That drop, how far was they dropping for? Those Nazis.
Yeah, it's just, and then the car, and then they go through the ceiling, and then another car just drops on top of it.
Do you know that was a little Ghostbusters thing, because they smashed through the road, and then in Ghostbusters at the end, Ecto, the floor splits and Ecto disappears underneath the pavement. And I thought, oh, they must have learnt that technique on Blues Brothers, and then said we're going to apply it in Ghostbusters. And do you know what's actually really quite interesting is that in that scene where they're in the phone box, Dan Aykroyd says to him, "Who are you going to call?"
Yes, I thought that as well.
And I was like, oh, right, it's a little nudge to Ghostbusters. But it's like, this was made fucking 6 years before Ghostbusters. How random that the iconic line from the film should be used
Yeah,
here.
I was thinking they pulled that from this. That's what I felt like when he said it, because it was such a standout line. They just
Maybe, yeah.
it just felt like they did.
Also, they've got the whole dummy scene in that bit where the phone booth and it falls on the floor, and you can just see the body, like a dummy body, just like
It was so...
sprawl around, and then he just gets out of it. And he goes,
All
"Oh,
of
there's at
that
least
shit was
$6
making
here."
me laugh, man. All of that shit was making me laugh.
I'm very glad you enjoyed it.
Maybe I'm just had to be in the mood for it, because I swear, I thought, Paul, that this was your kind of comedy.
Well, I like over the top stupid comedy, but I just didn't feel like it was that until the end. I just didn't feel it.
Maybe if you rewatch it and knowing what you're going to get
It
yourself
may
in
be.
for.
Maybe if I it might be
It's
better that
definitely a
I've
film
watched it on
that
my own
grows
as
on
well.
you. You just
So
enjoy it more
if
and
I'm with a
more.
crowd, maybe
It's-
maybe if I was watching it with someone, it might have been a different story as well.
And also, there's so many subtle jokes in it as well. Like, you realise, maybe not
saying
subtle
I don't
jokes,
get
but there's
it,
like
Adam?
jokes you might miss the first time. But that's like everything. It's a layered comedy. It's not like a comedy where you watch it again and
It's
you know
layered.
every
You've got to
joke.
think beyond the surface.
sorry.
Paul. Don't just
No, but
take
you know what?
everything on face
Very
value.
sorry.
You know what I mean. But when you rewatch
Yes.
a comedy and you've learnt all the jokes, but when you watch it again,
You see them.
you understand another joke.
Yeah, I get it.
I think like it kind of it straddles that line between being its own sort of Ghostbusters type comedy, but then doing like spoof. Like it felt like you said, Naked Gun, like Airplane type film, where ridiculous things happen that could never happen in the real world. Like half the time it felt like it was reality, and half the time it was just ridiculous.
That's probably what it was. It felt borderline. It didn't feel. If they wanted to do
Yeah.
it, they should have gone full hog.
They were just finding their feet, I guess.
Well, found it by the end, didn't
Budget as well. I don't know, budget. Apparently, it was one of the most expensive films at that point that had ever been made.
Wow.
You can tell. And it was almost like they saved all their money just for the 2 car chase scenes.
Spend it all on the car chases, yeah.
Because the film is not probably that expensive to film throughout it. They might have had to pay some of the people who are in the film, like the actors, like the artists.
Yeah.
They might have cost a bit, but then it is all just on that.
I mean, it's a strange film. It's very strange. It was stranger
But it's
than I
so
thought it was
strange it
going to be.
works.
I thought it was going to be more down the line,
Same.
and I think if it hadn't had that weirdness to it, I would have definitely voted it lower. But because it was so weird, it was surreal.
I like my comedies weirder.
You like your comedies weirder?
Yeah.
You would say that a Jim Carrey film, for example, would be preferable to this.
Yes. Well, I find I like because it's the physical comedy, isn't it? That I like.
Yeah.
Where
But this was like not necessarily bodily
not
comedy.
really.
But
It wasn't facially, like...
it was
Jim
one
Carrey's
liners
facially
and
funny.
then
his comedy, his face is too over the top, man.
it was one liners and over the top situations.
You prefer, like, your Austin Powers kind of situation?
Oh, I love a bit of Austin Powers, mate.
Yeah, I love Austin Powers. Austin Powers doesn't rely on the facial
Oh, it
gimmicks.
relies on Austin
He
Powers
does a
being Austin
bit.
Powers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, it took me 2 or 3 times to watch it, Austin Powers, before I realised that he played Dr. Evil as well.
That's because you are mentally retarded.
Yes, how could you not?
I was very young when I watched
Did you know
when I
he
was
also
very
plays
young.
Fat Bastard as well, Adam?
Yeah, I knew that. I
and
knew
he
that
also
one.
plays Goldmember.
Oh my
Did you
god,
know
does
that?
he? I didn't know that one.
And the shark with a laser beam on its head. He
Oh,
plays
yeah.
all them roles.
He's-
Very versatile.
He's method, mate.
Yes.
It's weird because I would say that this is a very funny film. If I thought about it, I would say it's a very funny film. But if I were to rewatch it, I think I would laugh in all the same places again. I feel like it's the kind of thing you could keep watching and keep laughing
Yeah, the
at.
jokes are still funny.
I would watch it again just to see if I would get into the swing of it a bit more. But I'd probably laugh once or something in the film when I watched it first.
What were you laughing at?
Very
I can't
grumpy
even
man.
remember. Maybe probably the last bit with all the army and all the police and the hut hut hut. That was my best bit of the film.
I'm just very glad you enjoyed it, Ben. I thought you would.
How about me?
What?
But I know I was very worried. You didn't enjoy it too tough, but
You should be worried about me then.
What did
Yeah.
you think that I would have given it?
I was going to think around an 8. I'm very surprised that you came so close to a 9.
Yeah, you're quite predictable. I'd say an 8.
Quite predictable. You're so
I don't-
insulting.
Put it this way, Ben, you were either going to give it an 8 or a 6.
Oh no, 6. The 6. There's no justification. For
I just
that.
thought you wouldn't vibe with it, and I was really. Do you know what I was worried about? Is the religious. When I started watching it, I was like, oh shit, he's going to get into this film. Realise it starts off with a religious context. He's probably not going to dig that too much.
I didn't have
And
a
then-
clue there was any religious context until it got said in the Twitter group with the Filmbuster crew. the
You
other
didn't
day.
have any like religious context that it was going to be that we're on a mission from God.
I'd heard that quote before, but I just never really connected it to it. But no,
It's just-
it wasn't.
but
It
it's
wasn't
so
enough
it's
to be
so
damaging.
not attached to it. I
Exactly,
thought
yeah.
it's not really that attached, but he's going to like go into that mindset with that attached now, and then it's going to take a while to enjoy the film, and then.
It's not like either of them have any Christ-like stuff going on for them through the film. They just refer to a mission from God, and that's it.
They almost take the piss out of it.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Like when he's having the moment in the church.
Well, it's not supposed
Like,
to be
you see
serious,
the light,
is it?
isn't it?
When he's going, Isaiah, it's like it is over the top. It's not a serious
Yeah.
scene.
That bit annoyed me when he was flipping up and down the hall. I thought, oh no.
Ooh, Baba.
I wasn't happy to see him doing cartwheels up and down. And the continuity, whoever was editing that needs a smack on the wrist, because they go, Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi are boogieing at the back of that church, and then it cuts to a wide shot, and they're both just standing there with their arms crossed. And it keeps happening, and it annoyed me so much. And do you know what else really annoyed me? And I want to understand what the fuck was going on. At the end, when they're making their performance, their big performance on stage, everyone is up on their feet apart from that one guy right at the front, and he stays in his seat the entire time. And I'm like, what's going on here? Because they don't focus on him enough for it to be someone who's just being grumpy. It's almost like all these extras were there, and this one extra was like, I actually fucking hate this film. I'm not getting up and dancing. Rewatch it. It is so weird.
I've never noticed that before.
And in every scene, because they must have filmed it over hours, in every scene, this one guy is sitting there looking grumpy as fuck. He's about mid-50s.
Maybe he didn't get involved in the cocaine budget.
Must be
Maybe
intentional.
I do think that films were when they were a little more unbridled, when they had a little less discipline to the filmmaking process, they ended up generating
people
the
just
better
making
work.
films rather than the studios.
Yeah, films that are made with like either shoestring budgets or big budget films that are made from time ago, decades ago. There's a certain charm to their ruggedness that I like.
This film was made for everything. This film was just for fun and to just like show their love for a bit of blues music and a bit of good music. It probably wasn't meant to be a big box office success, was it? It was just fun.
You got to like the fact that they were like pushing black artists throughout the whole thing.
This is because it's blues, isn't it? Blues is.
That was the best thing to take from the film, the music.
Yeah, the music was great. But yeah,
it's almost that type of film where if you went up to Dan Aykroyd and whatever John Landis, all them, and said, "I didn't like that film," they'd be like, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
They wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, because they didn't like it either.
Well, no, because they don't care if you like it or not. They had fun making it.
Well, you could say it about any film, Adam. If you go up to someone and go, "I don't like your
certain
film,"
films you probably think where they do care if you don't like it or not. It's made. They're trying to please everybody.
If there were no songs in this, what would you rate the film, Paul? If they cut away before every song happened,
then it'd be terrible.
Really?
Because it'd be like, why is it called Blues Brothers?
Film.
Well,
I can't say what I'd think of it because it isn't that film. So I can't actually say what my opinion would be.
okay. I'm just trying to establish how much of the film you liked and how much was the songs.
I liked it. I liked the songs, and I was going with what they were doing, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I'm having such a good time.
If only we had shorter films that we were suggesting to each other, I think everything would be so much tighter.
I did forget that it was a long film.
I used to think that long films always equaled quality, but it doesn't nowadays. Well, not nowadays because this is an old film. But
it depends.
feels
It has
like
to warrant being long. It has to warrant being long. I think, for me, in my opinion, this film just about gets away with it.
It could stand to lose half hour.
But it flows quickly. I wouldn't say there's a moment where when the film gets going, that you're watching the clock.
I think towards the end a little bit, and I like to see John Candy, bless his heart.
Yeah.
Whenever John Candy rocks up is nice.
He's in a lot of films in that era, wasn't he? And then
John Candy was also going to be in Ghostbusters.
He's also good in everything.
What was he going to be in Ghostbusters?
Like Ghostbusters.
I don't know which one he was going to be.
Marshmallow
They
Man.
wrote a part for him.
Marshmallow
That's very
Man.
rude. Do you know that John Belushi is Slimer though? They called him. They called Slimer John Belushi on set.
Well, everyone obviously hated him.
Exactly, makes sense. Slobby, horrible individual.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't know that gentleman in real life. Horrible man. Not horrible man. I don't know. I just slovenly.
Didn't he die
man.
with Robert De Niro?
No, so he didn't die with Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro and Robin Williams were over at his house with him, and Robin Williams was getting coked up because Robin Williams was a massive cokehead. De Niro wasn't. De Niro left, then Robin Williams left, and then John Belushi ordered the hooker over, and then the hooker injected him with heroin and cocaine, and off he went.
Goodbye. He flew in the air in his car.
He did. He's probably very happy with that way out.
I think if he had been given the choice, he probably would decide to live.
Yeah.
If he was given the
If he
choice, he
wasn't.
would have had a heart attack on set.
Yeah. If only he had and it had been filmed.
Yeah, but John Candy is good. I don't think I've seen John Candy be bad in a film.
No, John Candy's great. John Candy had all these cameos in these sorts of films. Like when I watched Stripes the other day, because it kind of feels like this is in that bracket of films like Caddyshack, Spaceballs.
Yeah, it's kind of that Bill Murray era.
Stripes.
It's that kind of
Totally.
when they were just making weird films.
And there's a word for that moment, because it's always happened with film, right? Like there was the Brat Pack that happened, which was like Ben Stiller and Jonah Hill and all of that around that sort of time. Everything's had its time, and like that was the comedy time for them, and they all were in each other's films.
It's going to be that Saturday Night Live, isn't it? It's that Saturday Night Live era of comedy films.
Yeah.
I prefer the unruliness of that comedy. Now the comedy is too... I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a comedy in the last 10 years specifically.
It's stupid, but it's not stupid.
There's something
it's
more
stupid
to
but
it.
Intelligent.
Yeah. There's comedy but with an actual interesting
It's stupid
thing.
comedy but with an intelligent element to it.
Yes. Like Ghostbusters. You would say Ghostbusters is funny. It has funny moments, but I would never... I don't think of that as a comedy film. I think of that as
You
my
kind of
little
class
sci-fi
it, maybe
kids
like...
film.
I'm like, I was watching Extras at the moment. It's like, it's stupid humour. You're laughing at stupid shit, but it's written well.
Yeah.
It's not just written by, I don't know, Seth Rogen all the time.
Listen,
Yeah.
out of the two classic films I've watched this month,
Yeah.
What are we talking? Blues Brothers
Blues Brothers and this other one,
Which other one?
Turner and Hooch, was better.
Oh, Turner and Hooch. I need to watch that again to tell.
That was beautiful.
You can't compare a film with a dog in it because the dog will always win.
It was a beautiful dog. Slobbered everywhere, mate.
Exactly,
I do not
convolution.
think that is a beautiful dog.
He's a beautiful dog.
It's
Do you know
a
what
dog.
made it
All
even
dogs are
what made it even
beautiful.
better is my cousin has literally bought that dog,
Oh.
and she's going to
Literally
be.
bought that dog, that actual dog from 30 years ago.
I can't even think what the breed's called, but it's a little girl called Sully. Oh my god, she's going to be massive. Her paws are
Sully,
big.
isn't that another Tom Hanks film?
That is.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, they're playing one.
Oh yeah, of course it is. But obviously it's named after Monsters Inc. But
Okay.
her paws
You
are
guys love
already
your
bigger.
Pixar, don't
It's
you?
her paws.
They are
as
corporate shills for Disney, man.
what? My whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your kid named Woody. We've got a dog called Sully.
Fair dues. I have it, mate. Anyway, this dog's paws are bigger than Memphis's paws, and she's a puppy. It's going to be literally
Oh.
massive.
She's gonna bully Memphis.
Well, they were playing the other day. It was beautiful. Memphis
I
never
wouldn't-
Memphis
I
wouldn't
never
care for a
plays.
dog like that.
Memphis never plays, and he was playing with her because he knows she's family.
Cringe.
Listen to yourself.
Can you please be on my side, Adam? It is a dog after all.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll give you that. Actually, I don't know where to come back from that.
Cowabunga, man.
Anyway,
I'm very, very glad you did enjoy it this day. And both of you enjoyed it.
it was fine.
And I feel like it's a film. I don't know if I'm pushing on you, but I feel it's a film you might come back to again at some point. It's got that thing of, oh, I'll watch that film again.
I'll watch it again
I fancy
just to see.
Oh, I fancy watching the Blues Brothers. How about you? Kind of film.
Yeah.
I'll always give a 7 another go if I fancy it.
Look at you. You're just a nice lover, aren't
Yeah.
you?
I do think there is something to be said about revisiting films, but I would have to have a line. I think maybe I'd revisit a 7, but 6 or below, I wouldn't revisit
No.
because
It does
at
depend
best,
on the film. I normally go 8s or above. I kind of like to keep, and then there's every so often there's a film that I might not. If it's a stupid, I don't know. Sometimes you're just in the mood and you're like, if someone's with you and they want to put it on, you're like, go for it. But I wouldn't actively pick.
The only time I would ever revisit a film that's lower, that I've rated lower, is if it's like a classic that everyone loves, and I'm like, let me just try and give it another go. That's the only time.
Like Citizen
don't
Kane.
do it to yourself.
I know,
brother.
I know,
Like,
but
stick
I don't-
to your guns.
But if someone says, "Oh, this film," I'll be like, "Do I like that
Or
film?
look at
What did I think of
Mulholland
it?"
Drive.
Huh?
Look at Mulholland Drive. You didn't like Mulholland Drive, did you? The first time
You
watched
grow
it?
older, you get wiser.
Would
you
you
taste change.
actively pick to rewatch it if we didn't do the podcast on it though?
I would do because it's an interesting film, and it's not I didn't get it. I wanted to understand it when I watched it, but I just didn't have the
Yeah.
patience to.
I feel like that was Citizen Kane.
I would never watch Inland Empire again unless we do it on the podcast.
do a podcast
Yeah.
on it.
Surely you would, though, because you're aware that for something like that, it is going to reward repeat viewings.
Inland Empire.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. It annoys me when I watch that film. I don't know if it's gonna. It might not annoy me next time, but
Annoys you.
it annoyed me. It annoyed me when I watched it first time and second time.
Well,
Second time I watched it because how much you love David Lynch.
who knows what's going to happen in about 10
Who
minutes'
knows?
time.
10 minutes.
Oh, it is your turn to pick, isn't it? Have you got your film to pick?
Yeah, we're not doing that yet. I want to say one more thing.
Go for it.
Go for it.
As much as this felt like it was championing black people, right? And I kind of thought, Adam, maybe you selected this film based on what was going on at the moment politically. And so, maybe not.
It's championing their music rather than them.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds stupid, championing them, but you know what I mean? Like, because it was a film that was sort of pushing and promoting a black voice. But I thought it was very, very interesting that despite all of that, when it cut at the very end of the film and it shows you all the crew singing and dancing, there's like one black guy in a sea of white faces. And it's like, kind of feels weird that these black, I know it's not a black story, but like this thing that's meant to sort of give a black voice is made by a bunch of white people, and it made me think of something.
It's music about blues as well. That they like music.
I know, but that is the black sound.
That's why maybe,
and it's almost like that white appropriation. And it also made me feel, while I was watching the film, a little bit like all of these other people we're seeing are the incredible artists. You're Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and the film's named after you, and you're the stars of the show. When you've got fucking Cab Calloway is opening for you. Cab Calloway's the fucking main event, mate, with Heidi Ho.
Heidi Ho was better than all of them.
Yeah,
I know, but that's just to make the film, isn't it? Obviously, they're gonna.
I know, but it's a little sad because it's a case of like, well, you can't get this made if you're going to do it. Imagine they were two black guys. The film wouldn't get sold, and as it was in the South, I read that Dan Aykroyd was saying that they struggled to get it shown in the South of America because they didn't want to see the film about the African Americans.
See, that's how I felt. I feel like because the payoff didn't feel earned at the end, because it felt like you're just going from scene to scene. Okay, now we're going to go to the diner where they're going to do the scene with Aretha Franklin. Now we're going to go to Ray Charles.
It's not meant to be like that. It's just fun.
I know it's fun, but I felt like it just got to the end and it was like, how did you get here? You didn't even do anything.
But they were big before. Remember, that's the thing. Like, they were the comeback tour. It wasn't like they built their name in those 4 days after they came out of prison, how long that was.
They were known before.
They were known. He got put away when they were big names.
Well, I didn't care to know.
I get that. I understand all opinions on it.
I can understand how people. If you
could,
watch Saturday Night Live, maybe they had the whole thing on Saturday Night Live where they were big.
They probably did.
They ended Saturday Night Live by him going to jail, and then they made the film off.
Don't forget, these are American characters as well, man. Like Saturday Night Live and these characters that are created. Have you ever watched a skit from Saturday Night Live? I've never thought they're funny.
I've only watched the recent
ones
when they put it on. They put it all over Twitter for a bit, and I was like, "This isn't funny."
They're not. They're really not. American humour, and I'm sorry to our American listeners. It is so over the top for that kind of thing.
It's almost what I feel with American Saturday Night Live is you laugh at it because you think it should be funny.
That's it.
Actually funny.
And you listen to those audiences, those American audiences that are just guffawing away over the most childish shit. They have a very immature sense of humour, the Americans.
It's that canned laughter.
You know what it is? Americans don't do irony in the way that Britain does. That's why I think Frasier is one of the best sitcoms that came out, because they did subtle, ironic humour, whereas most of the time Americans are used to things like Friends. Like, how obvious can we make the joke? Here's the joke, now laugh. Whereas if you've got to think about it, Americans go, oh, no. Just give me something that's stupid, please.
Give me those one-liners.
Yeah.
You broke my watch.
Exactly.
That was well funny, wasn't it?
That was said several times. I didn't laugh at the "you broke my watch" line, by the way. Do you know when I laughed the most was the time... Oh, yeah, and that leads me on to something I need to say to you, Paul. The time I laughed the most was when they speed past the police car for the second time, and he's like, now I got you. And he shoots out the road, and he crashes into the good old boys. They both flip immediately.
And then they all get out their hands up, isn't it? It's like...
Something that was bothering me throughout the entire movie, Paul... And I kept saying to Jenny, remind me at the end of this movie to look up who this is. That black police officer.
Oh, yeah, from Leftovers.
Yeah, I couldn't for the life of me remember what I recognised him from.
Yeah.
And then at the end I was like, oh shit, he barely aged in all that time.
I know, he looked good, didn't he?
It's like 35 years since. This was 80, this was made. That Leftover season was made, what, 2014, 15? Yeah. He's fucking aged well, mate.
He looks good, mate.
Very well.
Anyway, who would you be in this film, Ben?
Oh.
I'd be Dan Aykroyd.
Of course you would be. Paul can be John Belushi then.
Never.
Actually, no, you look more like Dan Aykroyd. Ben could be...
Yeah, I know. That's a problem.
Adam just said you could be John Belushi. Oh.
Yeah.
Horrible, isn't it? That's what he thinks of me.
Yeah.
I'll be Cab Calloway. I'll be guiding you through life.
Fuck you will. Suddenly
I'll
appearing
give
in your white trench coat to sing on
Yeah,
stage.
I'll be there to guide you when you need it the most and stand in for you when you're not there because you're putting glue on a brake and trying to trap out Twiggy.
You never do it, mate. You never stand
He
by
chatting
us.
up Twiggy. He was chatting up Twiggy for a that made me uncomfortable. I was like, stop that. Why is she just going to come meet a stranger at midnight at a
I
motel?
thought that as
And then
well.
she did.
This is charisma.
This lady had no respect.
Did she?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
turned.
she- there's
Oh,
a
it's in
bit
the
when they're on the
extended
pli-
cut.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's in the theatrical cut as well. It's
I don't think
when
it
they're
is.
it's in the middle of the police chase. It's literally they're in the police chase,
Mm-hmm.
and then it cuts to her for like 2 seconds. She's looking at her watch,
And it
she's sitting on the
literally
bonnet of her
fades
car,
out.
and then-
It fades out, and then it fades back in, and they're chasing them by day.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought he meant he
it's
actually met
such
her.
It's almost
Oh,
one
no,
of those
no,
things. If you blink, you'll miss it,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of thing.
I was probably looking at my phone at that bit.
Paul was on his phone at that time, little prick. I dug it, man. It was fun. I could imagine watching it again, not too soon.
Yeah, maybe like in like a year or so, you'd be like at one hangover day, you watch it, you're thinking. I kind of put it in their bracket of like Ferris Bueller and stuff like that.
That's a good
Ferris
comparison.
Bueller
Yeah.
beats this,
Well,
mate.
it's a good humour. It's a good film where you don't know if you have to think too much, but it's just kind of like, oh, that's a nice film. Let's put that on.
You do film such a terrible disservice when you say you don't have to think too much. You say that like
Yes.
it's a real.
I know.
negative
I
thing.
know what I mean. This is what I say. I know
You
what
can
I
have
mean in my
nothing in
head.
your brain.
Yeah.
I know. I can translate it. When I say it, I know
By
what I
saying
mean, but
you
I
don't
don't
have to
translate
think
it.
too much. You're like saying put on Sharknado.
No,
no.
he means you could sit on that sofa and be brain dead and like the film.
Not like that, you know. But you mean it doesn't? It's a nice relax. It almost relaxes you. You don't have to. Your engagement level. You're obviously engaged with the film.
You
but
don't know what to say.
So you could go. I'm going to smoke this spliff. I'm going to smoke this spliff, or I'm going to sit and watch Blues Brothers.
I don't know what I'm going to think. I give it up.
You think I feel like a fun time. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's put Blues Brothers on. That's what you mean, yeah?
Yeah.
You don't want to sit down and watch
harmless
something serious. You want a good time.
Do you dance when the songs come on, Adam? Ever?
No, I've never got up and danced.
Never.
Have you?
Me and Jenny were doing it on the sofa yesterday, mate.
Were you boogieing along, like flicking your fingers and swaying side to side?
Yeah, we were up jigging, mate.
Were you jazzing?
Yeah, all over the shop.
The chip shop, as Adam would say.
All over the chip shop.
Now, what of the sequel, Adam? You ever seen it?
No, and I don't know if I want to. It's got John Goodman in it, though.
It has terrible IMDb score, like 4
It
points
has
something.
got terrible. And it just kind of... I don't even know what the thing is. Is that they can't do another comeback gig or something?
I don't know, but there's a kid in it, and whenever they add a kid into a story about men, like when they try and bring kids into a story about adults, it's always horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be terrible.
Yeah, I just kind of... I just don't want to touch it, because I think it might be one of those that does take away... Sorry to Katie, but it takes away from the original.
Well, I was a fan of it. I think I'm a fan of that sort of comedy from that time period as well. I think it works.
That's why I'm surprised you've never seen it. I think that's probably as much as why I wanted you to watch it, because I was very surprised you've never seen it.
Me too.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm sorry you didn't. What about Dragnet, Adam? Because apparently Dan Aykroyd's character kind of plays the same guy in Dragnet.
I've never seen it.
He wrote it as well. It's a film that he wrote. It's funny enough that Paul should mention Tom Hanks, because it's him and Tom Hanks in Dragnet.
I've never even heard of it, I don't think.
Well, should we place this film?
Yes, let's place.
Okay.
All right, so we took a time out and we averaged up our scores. It's an 8.3. So it sits with a whole load of other 8.3s that we've covered over the last few months. So our 8.3s from top to bottom are Infinity War for some fucked up reason, Uncut Gems, The Invisible Man, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Buster Scruggs, and that's where it sits, right above Bacurau and above The Raid 1 and 2 and above Avengers Endgame. So in between Buster Scruggs and Bacurau.
Lovely.
So that means...
Paul's moment of glory has been taken away. He finally put a film up there, and then it gets popped
Terrible.
back down again.
Bacurau's so much better than the Blues Brothers. Don't get it. Don't
It's
get
more
it,
fun.
mate.
The Blues Brothers is a lot more fun.
Very hard to say that sort of thing because, like, you know, it's like how do you compare an orange to
I
an apple?
find it quite easy.
We rate
I
everything.
find it quite easy, Ben, to say that.
Well,
One's terrible, one's really good.
why are you giving something that's terrible a 7?
I'm joking. Good placement.
Here's our personal table. Since we've adopted this new format of not going to the cinema and just recommending films between us, we've covered 12 films. And in the top half of the table, right? In the top half of the table, Adam has 4 out of 10 of the films. Yes.
Yes.
The audience have 2 out of the 10 of the films.
Well done, you guys.
Ben has 3 and Paul has 1.
Are you trying to besmirch me?
I'm just telling you the way the chips have fallen.
Is it because I pick the controversial films and you pick the obvious ones? Something like that, isn't it?
Paul picking the controversial films. Listen, you two are so obvious. All you do, the two of you, is pick films in which people wear sunglasses. Show a little originality.
No one wears sunglasses in a Serbian film.
They live.
They did. The security guards wore it.
In Serbian film?
All
The
you
security
like
guard.
is... Yeah, it's true. The security guards all had sunglasses, yes. Isn't it shocking, the two of you?
There's no one who wears sunglasses more than Robert De Niro in Casino.
It's true. Robert De Niro wears the sunglasses a lot in that, eh?
I think there's probably just a lot of people that wear sunglasses in films.
I think people just wear sunglasses in films. Really,
We need to
be
pick a
honest
film
today.
where there's a place where there's no sun, so there's
I
no
hope there's no
sunglasses.
sunglasses in your next pick, Ben.
I don't think there is, so there's a clue.
Oh shit, I know what it
It's
is.
animated them.
Hang on, let's go to our listeners. Let's go to our Twitter followers.
Oh yeah, shit.
We've got 2 here. First up, we got one here from Trivia Chick. Absolute classic. It's way over the top and bombastic in every way, and I just love it for that reason. It never ceases to make me laugh, and then the amazing blues artists featured take it from a good to a great. Incredible comedy, incredible chase, and an all-round awesome movie, and we have to agree with you on that one there.
We do.
Apart from me.
Jazza2000 says...
Jazza? It's Jabba.
Yeah, Jazza.
Jabba.
Jabba's jazzing.
Very good. Very good.
Jabba2000 says, top 10 comedies of all time. Seamlessly blends comedy, action, and great musical numbers into a one-of-a-kind thrill ride. I listen to the soundtrack quite often. What about cameos by Steven Spielberg and Carrie Fisher, an all-time classic? We didn't even talk about Steven Spielberg.
Where was he?
He's at the end. He's the one that they give the money to when they get to the end. The tax man.
Is it?
Yeah, very young Spielberg.
Oh, that's very...
Young buck.
We've got Frank Oz in it at the beginning. I always forget Frank Oz is in it.
Frank Oz, Little Muppet Man.
Yeah, I mean Yoda.
That's all lovely.
Anyway, this is the most exciting part of the film podcast next, is what Ben picks, isn't it?
Yes. So,
Go on to it.
guess what?
What?
We're going to venture into the terrain of David Lynch again.
Oh my god, are we?
Ooh,
But
Lynch is...
We're not going to do Inland Empire, you're going to do something else, I bet.
we're not going into the land of anything he's directed. We're going into the land of something that he produced.
Oh, okay.
And it's directed by Werner Herzog.
Okay.
And it's
Go on.
called... And it stars Michael Shannon.
Is it Salt and Fire?
It's called My Son, What Have Ye Done?
Wow.
Never
I've never even heard of it.
Now, this little film, neither of you have seen, Werner Herzog had the idea, after learning of a man who killed his mother with a machete and then took hostages in his house. Werner Herzog wrote this script, and then he didn't know what to do with it. And one day he was at David Lynch's house and he told Lynch the story, and Lynch was like, "You're going to make that film. I'm so excited about this, and I'm going to pay you to make it. I'm going to put all the money up." And I'll say no more about it.
Oh, this is interesting.
I want to throw a little curveball here. Brad the Riff is in it. It's the second film in a row that I've put Brad the Riff in.
Oh,
Willem Dafoe is in it as well. Don't read nothing about it before you see it, please.
I won't. I'm going to stay away from it until I watch it.
Yeah,
Yes.
do. Go in it blind like Baccarat.
Baccarat blind.
Blind like Baccarat blind. Yeah, that'd be a new saying for us, because that's how we approach films without no context.
Indeed.
I look forward to talking to you both about a film you'll surely hate.
I'm very excited for it because I have no idea what it's about. I
Good.
have no context for this film.
Please,
So-
and Adam, do the same. Don't read nothing.
Right, yes, guys, you can get in touch with us on Instagram and Twitter at FilmbustersPod, or you can go to our website www.filmbusterspod.co.uk, or you can get our personal accounts. I'm at FilmbustersPaul, he's
I'm
at
at
Filmbusters Adam, and
Yeah,
the
I
other one's
am.
at Filmbusters Ben.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, I'm just going to go now because I'm going to go play some jazz.
Filmbuster.